Report of the New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So it turns out that after the world was turned upside down by George Floyd's unlawful murder by Minneapolis police, they actually have a memorial service yesterday for him that actually had a lot of love poured out for him, and even had a moment of silence that went on for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, referencing the amount of time that killer cop Derek Chauvin had his knee on George Floyd's neck. 46-year-old unarmed black man, that is, you know what I mean? And who's actually a longtime friend who was there, who was a witness, actually told state investigators that at no point did George Floyd resist arrest. So all of that was unnecessary. Dude calling out, "I can't breathe." Are you fucking kidding me? Now, with those Derek Chauvin, though, there were 3 officers charged with aiding and abetting the murder of George Floyd, who actually in front of a Hennepin County courtroom were given $750,000 bail each. So the defense tried to say that the cops were like new on the force, Alexander Quang and Thomas Lane, that they the ones that actually were pinning him down while Derek Chauvin did what he did. And it turns out they were on the force as probation officers in February 2019, and they've been official officers since December. So, you know, take that how you want to. But at the end of the day, a man didn't have to die. I think that's safe to say, man. Y'all got to tighten up out here. Green Wall and Graduation. For the New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. Y'all better tighten up out here, man. They out here hunting black folks like deer. Now, you know what I mean? And think about it, it's always these, we still not even dealing with like the organ harvesting, the child trafficking and shit like that, the major shit, 9/11, all of this other smaller shit is crazy big too. So here we are in the scenario where Ahmaud Arbery was shot down by these 3 white men who were basically accusing him of stealing or trying to go through their house that they were renovating. Shot him down, and it turns out that a state judge for Georgia actually ruled that there's enough evidence to actually go through with a case against to charge them with murder. Now, Richard Dial, who's actually a special agent for the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, he actually testified and said that after Mr. Bland told him that basically after Travis McMichael shot him down, that he said "fucking nigga." So this is on record. Like, the Arbery's family's trying to get federal hate crime charges against all 3 men. The 2 who were taking part and chasing the dude down, the one who was filming. Green Wall and Graduation. Report of the New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. Yo, 10th straight day of protests that have you can say the catalyst for these protests were the murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis by police officers up there. But there was also a rollover of grief from the murder of Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery. You know what I mean? And this COVID-19 pandemic taking more black people's lives at a higher rate than that of others. Like it's a lot of stress going on, especially economically as well. So, you know, but in moving on, though, you had protests even going on in New York still. Over in the Bronx, you had protesters that were out there like deliberately past the 8 p.m. curfew that was put on there for the coronavirus, and police officers were beating the protesters back with clubs, and 170 protesters were arrested over a night. And that y'all need to be wary of that, because the Manhattan judge just ruled that you can be detained longer than the state mandatory max of 24 hours for protesting in these towns. So stay woke. Green Wall and Graduation. This report of the New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So Terrence Floyd, the brother of George Floyd, the slain 46-year-old African American brother, and killed by police officers in Minneapolis. They actually had a memorial service in Brooklyn, New York, at Brooklyn Plaza. 10,000 people packed the area, and when Mayor Bill de Blasio actually got to the microphone, he was met with a ton of boos. Like, like people really do not like this man. Like, nobody likes him, yo. And it's crazy because in this scenario, you know, you had New York known politician, Jermaine Williams, who actually took the mic and was calling on the mayor to address the pain and anger of the citizens of New York, and instead of responding with more military, with more police crackdowns and curfews. You know what I mean? So, it's real tension out there. Green Wall and Graduation. Streets reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report, man. And it's something distress. We represent the distress we in this motherfucker, But I ain't swagged out today, but you could definitely go to blackfoxnews.com/shop. You know what I mean? And make sure you pick up, some paraphernalia that could actually represent us, raise the consciousness level of those around you and your folk. And, support us how we supporting y'all, because we're going to keep y'all fed with what's happening out here and show y'all the landscape. We're going to describe the landscape, you dig? Like, right now, over in Vallejo, California, there was actually a 22-year-old Sean Monterosa. I don't know, due to Spanish or Hispanic or even white or whatever, but this is important. He actually was fatally killed by police out there. Now, they said he had a gun on him, but then later on the police said that, it was actually just a hammer in his pocket. What kind of fuck shit is that? It don't even matter, because witnesses say that when the cops pulled up, he just immediately got to his knees and put his hands up. The cops were responding to a call of looting. So maybe he did have something to do with that, but he just immediately dropped his knees and put his hands up. That's when an officer in an unmarked car pulls up and basically shoots the fuck out of him. 5 times through the windshield. Gone. Now, police are being taught to do this. It's not enough to just be like prosecuting one scenario here and there, because first off, we already know a ton of situations already where cops have gotten off with this shit. So, So we're due this. This is what's supposed to happen and then some. But at the same time, that's not enough though, because if it shouldn't be happening at all, even down to the damn techniques. These motherfuckers is practicing this shit, y'all. They practicing to take the citizens to war, yo. It's always seemed like it's a war on the people since this administration has been there, yo. This shit is crazy. It goes before this administration too, during Obama shit too, but Obama shit was more overt, smooth. This shit straight out right in your fucking face. We got military in the streets, y'all. You know what I'm saying? We got clear neglect for how to handle a pandemic, because the motherfuckers had the playbook and didn't follow none of that shit. When is it going to end, y'all? They declaring war right now. It's police state that they're trying to bring upon people. And I think motherfuckers need to be ready, But that's my rant, though. Green Wall and Graduation. What the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. Make sure you check out blackfoxnews.com/shop for the fly shit. The link is in the Instagram bio. You can get them from the state, Stop the KKK line, the Still Our Grind line. We got teas coming out that's already out for the summer, and even towels. You can support the movement in a lot of different ways as we continue to support y'all, man, and raise the consciousness level of those around you, including yourself, man. There's nothing more important than being a voice for the people, you digs? And we gotta be, because there's a lot of shit going on. Like this police state, they trying to pull over our eyes right now. Up in Buffalo, New York, you actually had the 2 officers that are being suspended without pay in the police department after they basically put this 75-year-old white man in the hospital in serious condition. So they were coming down on this protest, saw the man, and one of the officers just shoves the fuck out of him. So dude falls on the pavement, cracks his skull like you would expect a 75-year-old white man to do in a scenario like that. And then one officer tries to give him some help, and then gets shoved out of the way by another officer. And then a couple dozen of these riot police that just walk by the motherfucker while he just motionless on the ground, bleeding from his head. So, and there was an incident where the police department had actually talked to the local radio station, and they said that somebody had tripped and fell and injured themselves at the protest and all of that. I'm like, are you kidding me? So the mayor of Buffalo, Byron Brown, said, he's deeply disturbed by that. But at the end of the day, this is one of those top-down situations that I've been telling y'all about as far as these police and this police brutality. This shit is being taught. They're not learning. They're not coming on the force, and they're not being taught to be like, oh, be all calm and all. But no, they taught to being tough, to try to instill fear in the people. They gotta be. That is the common thread out of all of this shit. They trying to bully their situation into where people just gonna submit, or people like, are they trying to send a message? To me, this is an act of war. To anybody, I mean, by definition, this is an act of war. They declared it. Everybody stay woke, man. Green War on Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. So, over in Washington, D.C. at the National Mall, we actually had thousands of protesters. This was a youth-led protest outside of right next to the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial. And you ever knew who was the first rapper to actually do a music video over there? You already know, Bishop Grady, man. But check this out, though. While they were protesting over there, they actually took a knee for 8 minutes and 46 seconds in reference to the amount of time that killer cop, police officer for Minneapolis, Derek Chauvin, actually had his knee on unarmed black man George Floyd's neck, and that actually ended up killing him. Now, actually, or across the mall, though, you had the White House federal workers over there actually putting up this fence. So I guess they're getting tired of all of the protesting that's been cooking up over there, which they've been making violent, them and the police that they've been calling or whatever, because honestly they've been peaceful. But nevertheless, there's this fence being put up, large black gate, other concrete barriers in there or whatever. But Defense Secretary Mark Esper has actually ordered the removal of several hundred troops from the 82nd Airborne Division that have actually been in Washington, D.C., called in to quell the protest. Like, Mark Esper already went against Trump, saying that he didn't think that it's unnecessary, like, in these times. Like, this is just uncalled for to have military in the streets right now. And he even tried to act on that on Wednesday, but he got stopped by the White House, from their pressure. So there's, this is what D.C. looks like, people. Streets Report of the New World Order. I'm gonna give it to y'all raw. Green War on Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. So the Black Lives Matter in Washington, D.C. and other civil rights activists and organizations are actually suing Donald Trump, Attorney General William Barr, and other White House officials for having the police beat them the fuck up in the Lafayette in the Lafayette Park outside of the White House when they were trying to clear a way for Trump to walk and take a photo in front of St. John Episcopal Church holding up a Bible. So, and having, because it was found out that Attorney General William Barr actually, like, personally ordered them to, or the Washington Post reported that he personally told the police officers to rough him up and all of that. So, this happening, Attorney General William Barr, he actually defended the administration's actions and then tried to blame Antifa for instigating the violence, but provided no evidence for Antifa, just like a lot of y'all right-wing hicklickers is doing out here. You know what I mean? I be seeing y'all in these discussions. You don't think I take note? Now, in not having no evidence, and y'all just naming anything that seems to be against Trump or the White House to Antifa. So you'll have the Nation magazine that actually reported that there was they got hold of an internal FBI document that actually showed that FBI had no intelligence on Antifa being involved or even having a presence in those protests that took place last Sunday at the White House. And they did have evidence, however, on the presence of far-right provocateurs. What that mean? That mean them people that was actually dipping and getting into infiltrating the protests and making it look like these protests was starting shit. You know what I'm saying? On behalf of Antifa. So for all y'all that's out there marching, y'all gotta watch out for that too. I know y'all probably feel like y'all leading and organizing these movements really, really well because a swarm of white people might come in y'all shit and be supporting y'all, but white, they probably doing it with black people too. You never know, man. Because I think what we saw from them Atlanta cops and that had beat up on those AUC students or whatever, like, and tased the fuck out of them. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. So in the midst of all of these protests and even in just the whole grand scheme of terrorism, since even if you want to go back to 2001 or whatever, it's always very interesting. Whatever it's a person of color or it's a Muslim or anything, that's when all of that shit wants to get blown up or whatever. And these be shits that don't even go the fuck down. But then turn around, nobody wants to address the elephant in the room and address all of these far right conspiracy theorizing extremists that be out here with military experience and all of that, or all of these motherfuckers that be coming from the army and then want to come to the country and then shoot shit up on some terror plot. I don't know what they doing with y'all minds over there in the military, but there is definitely a pattern that needs to be addressed. And this story is crazy because over in Las Vegas, you had 3 men that were charged with inciting violence at a protest and with actually attempting a terror plot. All 3 had U.S. experience, U.S. Military experience. All 3 were tied with the far-right extremist Boogaloo group. Yeah, that's right, Boogaloo. So, you know, this might not be the last time that you hear this shit. Also, in Salisbury in North Carolina, you had Jeffrey Allen Long, 49-year-old white man with ties to a neo-Confederate hate group that actually was charged with firing a weapon near protesters on Sunday. So, these are actual real things, Breitbart. These are actually real situations, Fox News, white Fox News, you know what I'm saying? This is not no conspiracy fuck shit. This is really happening. Address that shit before you start worrying about Antifa, man. Green War and Graduation. Report of the New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So you know the murder of Breonna Taylor and definitely the murder of George Floyd. 2 unarmed black people that were killed by cops. These murders actually rang bells all throughout the fucking planet. You got people protesting over in Asia, you know what I mean, in Australia. You know, I got a follower that's out there in Australia protesting, going ham, like all and this is all being used as a symbol of police brutality, as the movement of black people typically is normally used as symbolically to you know, provide and serve as a catalyst for the movements of others. And you know, we okay with that, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day, because if it's all for good, it's all in the name of good, that's all good. But for police, it's not always good, especially when they at the brunt end of it. And you know, they retaliate how they retaliate and cracking down on these protests. But lately they've been cracking down on the fucking media just for reporting this shit. Like, shit you really don't see in the United States specifically. I mean, you got people on live television broadcasting reporters getting hit with rubber bullets, pepper spray, riot shields. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's getting arrested live on air. There was a CNN cameraman who obviously was arrested because he was black at one of these protests or whatever, arrested live on air. So that's going on. The Committee to Protect Journalists has actually recorded over 250 press freedom violations since these protests had actually kicked off last week. And also in Minnesota, the American Civil Liberties Union of Minnesota is actually filing a class action lawsuit over the targeting of media people by police. So it is very much seen as deliberate. 250 press freedom violations, you know what I mean? Like, the fuck is y'all trying to be, Saudi Arabia? Green War and Graduation though. Report of the New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So interestingly enough, there were actually 30 journalists that actually called out sick out of protest for what happened at their news outlet, the Philadelphia Inquirer, when they decided to put out this publication called Buildings Matter Too, all in response to the Black Lives Matter theme being played out after the murder of Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and George Floyd. So it's like, how insensitive can you be? Buildings matter too. You talking about over real life? Like, anyway, so good for them for you know, catching that. And then over at the New York Times, you actually had 800 employees at the New York Times actually sign a petition condemning the publication of an editorial put out by Republican Senator Tim Cotton, who actually put in a op-ed piece called "Send Out the Troops," in response to all of the uprising that's been going on, the so-called riots, which we know have right-wing provocateurs for sure. You know what I mean? People that are actually in the cut acting like they're marching with the protesters or whatever, destroying property, and then so the media can turn around and blame it on Black Lives Matter or Antifa and call them terrorist groups and justify bullshit. And Tim Cotton continued that. And they even had to tell him, like, you know, you doing that, it actually puts black staffers at the New York Times lives in danger. You know what I mean? Or somebody had tweeted that out. And it's at the end of the day, man, y'all motherfuckers supposed to know better, man. Y'all adults. Y'all grown people out here. Some of y'all 40 and 50 years old. Some of y'all politicians. Y'all been in this country a long time, and y'all don't even know that. Green War and graduation, man. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News report. So, all this talk about police brutality and states' rights, civil rights, people's rights, human rights, and we forgetting about COVID-19. There's still a pandemic that's going on, people. 6.6 million infections worldwide is the official toll, but obviously the number is believed to be a lot higher. But even with that, as far as official numbers, we are now at 100,000 new infections every day throughout the world. Right now, there are 2 times as many countries that have a rate of infection that's increasing than there are as many countries that have a rate of infection that is decreasing, and that right there by itself is a problem. Also, you have Brazil that's actually now crept into 3rd place on the death toll scoreboard internationally with getting 1,400 new COVID-19 cases overnight, in the past 24 hours, which brings them to a total of 34,000 deceased. I believe they're only behind the United Kingdom, and of course, the U.S. has to be #1. Green War and graduation, though. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News report. So let's not forget about this COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2, coronavirus disease 2019, aka that Rona. Make sure you check out Rona, aka BFN World Broadcast number 17. You can find a link anywhere on Black Files News in the video description, or if you go to youtube.com/Black Files News, you will see it there, or go to blackfilesnews.com, you'll see at the top of the page, Rona, that shit bump, and it's informative in the media cycle that's actually trying to make us forget about this shit, or what is it even about? So people are still trying to take proper precaution when they're out there in these protests and all of that, whatever. Nevertheless, the U.S. sits at 108,000 deaths due to COVID-19, the highest death toll out of any country. The head of this Center for Disease Control and Prevention, Robert Redfield, has actually spoken out loud and testifying, basically said that he doesn't feel like Americans and people are getting the message. They're not getting the social distancing message. I think y'all need to really consult these white motherfuckers that be these conservative motherfuckers. I ain't gonna say white, nah, that's absolutely not true. But these conservative right-wing anti-governor, because they impose social distancing measures, type of people and groups that are out here. It ain't us black folks, because if you go to these protests, these Black Lives Matter protests, the motherfuckers got their masks on. So much so that the Movement for Black Lives, an organization based down in Oakland, they actually had a bunch of masks that were out there, and it turns out that the police are actually seizing them. So they had a mask that said, "Stop killing black people and defund the police," and these were seized. They had a package going to their Oakland place, and it was seized by law enforcement. So that lets you know what type of time at least our people was on, you know what I'm saying? We respecting that shit, because I know one thing, y'all not gonna fake get me sick with this COVID-19 shit just because I'm standing for justice. Green War and graduation. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report, man. Shit getting real. Even on with COVID-19 happening, even with the murder of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery, we still got to worry about this political underhand shit that this current administration be trying to do. You know, these motherfucking swindlers, man. So Trump actually signed, out of emergency for COVID-19, has actually signed an executive order basically allowing them to circumvent, allowing them as in government to circumvent the environmental review process when it comes to major projects like mines, highways, and certain construction and all of that, whatever. So they are effectively gutting out the Endangered Species Act as well as the Environmental Protection Act. So that is a serious problem, and it deserves serious scrutinizing. Now, also, it turns out that a federal appeals court in San Francisco has actually overturned an Environmental Protection Agency approval, an EPA approval of an herbicide made by Monsanto after it was found out that they ridiculously understated the risk involved with the herbicide. Green Wall and Graduation. They put out the new world of the Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So I've been telling y'all about the record-breaking heat that's been experienced in certain parts of the world, and I've recently spoken about Siberia. Well, Russia is actually declaring a state of emergency in Siberia due to the record-breaking heat that's taking place. It turns out that there was this fuel reservoir that actually leaked 20,000 tons of diesel fuel into a river next to the Arctic Ocean after the permafrost under the fuel reservoir actually collapsed due to the heat. So it leaked diesel fuel for like miles, across miles of Russian wilderness. Is a lot of fucking fuel. And at the end of the day, some climate activists are saying this is the largest oil spill of Russia's modern history. Green Wall and Graduation. Report out the new world of the Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So, over in the U.S., while we're working on like dismantling racism and police brutality, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody that's trying to get that bullshit Robert E. Lee statue removed from Charlottesville, Virginia. You know what I'm saying? It's about time that comes down. He was a slave owner and fought for the Confederate Army. Why is there this fucking huge statue with this dude on this horse like he's a god? We not gonna respect him. Are you fucking kidding me? Now, while that's going on in the U.S., you know what I mean? We trying to deal with that racism, police brutality, and, you know, the two combined in the whole nine, right? You got other places, though, that are actually just, you know, at the peak of their police brutality efforts or whatever. And it's like for example, in the Philippines, the United Nations report put out that under President Rodrigo Duterte, who's been president since mid-2016, there have been tens of thousands of Filipinos that have actually been murdered, while you have the police committing these extrajudicial killings and allowed to do these arrests with near immunity. Now, also in this report, it was saying that there's, you know, the orders are coming from like top government officials to do these acts of extreme violence, and there's a pickup of cases where, you know, police officers are like playing evidence and doing all of this shit to justify their murders or justify them feeling like they're under attack or acting in self-defense. Out of these tens of thousands of people that have actually been killed in this so-called war on drugs, 70 of these people have been children, with the youngest child being killed in this war on drugs being 5 months old. Are you fucking kidding me? Green Wall and Graduation, y'all. Stay